wish you were here. The weather's getting warmer now that the trees are all cleared.
This is Total Babble. Total Babble.
It's a show about music, pop culture, social media, movies, the internet, relationships, TV, whatever.
Total Babble. The Total Babble Podcast.
So, yes, greetings from Southern California. A little bit of a different intro there to the show. I will mention that is a soundbite from a band called Toy Matinee. It's a song called Last Plane Out. I recommend that and another song, Kevin Gilbert, a song called Goodness Gracious. Same singer in those bands. They're a little bit dated, but dated doesn't mean bad. The Toy Matinee is very 90s. Kevin Gilbert is very 2000s. But those two songs kind of encompass what we're going to be going through for the next 4 years. So if you're a listener, I invite you to listen to those songs. Toy Matinee, Last Plane Out, Kevin Gilbert, Goodness Gracious. And here in Southern California, not really a lot going on. Nothing to really tell. Hello, Emily. How are you?
Hello, I'm well. Sorry for the entire world being on fire.
Yeah.
It's been a tale, hasn't it? It's been frozen. Hell literally froze over last week when it snowed 3 inches in Atlanta.
Well, you know what's important to know? That really important thing to know, and something that we can take to heart and just live our lives by and make lots of changes based on is, I don't know if you've heard this, hindsight is 20/20. That solves everything. Just know that and move on with life and everything is good.
At the risk of winding you up, which sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, but I was thinking about you the other day when we were talking about the fires that were happening, and I was hearing people talk about two things. One, I didn't know that 30% of the firefighting force in California is made up by incarcerated inmates that are paid slave wages. One, didn't know that.
Didn't know that either.
Two, I didn't know that when they are going to try and fight these fires that there is literally no water in the fire fucking hydrants.
Yeah.
Didn't know that. And this is due to budget cuts or something.
I think they're investigating that. And to be clear, I'm not going to make it a full fire show. It's just that last week we were recording the show just as the winds were starting to kick up, and none of this had happened yet. And I'm south of LA, but it's pretty close south. And I lived and worked there for a long time. And my stepsister and a guitar player acquaintance both lost their houses, so they now have nowhere to live. And I don't know anybody in the state that is not impacted by this and doesn't know somebody that lost a house. That's kind of the survey that I'm doing as things go around. And we're not a local LA show. You're in a whole other part of the country, but it has been in the news everywhere. And just for context, we had a mayor that decided to go on a diplomatic trip to Africa as all of this was starting. There was apparently not enough water in the fire hydrants, as you mentioned, and the fires didn't have water at times, and they were using swimming pools to put out fires. And our fire department's budgets have been gutted. And I have here a press conference. This has been big and controversial, and I don't know if this has hit the national or international news. But the LA fire chief held like a big 15-minute interview with a local news outlet that kept pressing her on stuff. And you could tell she was pissed, but attempting to be diplomatic. And then finally she wasn't diplomatic. And out of the 15 minutes, here is a minute of that.
What is your message to city administrators, starting with Mayor Bass?
My message is the fire department needs to be properly funded.
And it's not.
It's not at this point, and we've got the justification. We know where our gaps in service are. We know we need 62 new fire stations. We need to double the size of our firefighters. The growth of this city since 1960 has doubled, and we have less fire stations. This is more than a job to us. This is who we are. This is our duty. And when you don't have that ability and people don't listen, that's why I'm talking to you right now. The fire department needs to be funded appropriately so that I can look any community member in the eye and say, your LAFD's got your back.
And right now you can't?
Right now, no. And that's why I'm here.
Did the city of Los Angeles fail you and your department and our city?
It's my job to stand up as a chief and exactly say, justifiably, what the fire department needs to operate to meet the demands of the community.
Did they fail you?
That is our job. And I tell you, that's why I'm here. So let's get us what we need so our firefighters can do their jobs.
Did they fail you?
Yes.
So it finally came down to that yes, they failed her and the city and the people that died and the people that lost their houses. And all of this was in the mayor's overview, and the fire chief kind of went off on her, and they called her in, and there was talk that they fired her, and boy, they wanted to fire her, but they couldn't fire her at that time. That would be a total PR disaster. And the left leadership that we have in this state and in LA proper is very left-leaning, and I'm very left-leaning, but I'm amazed that people are picking sides and the people on the left are just usually not saying anything, and the people on the right are saying that it's all the left's fault. And I'm very willing as a left-leaning guy to say the left failed and we should figure out why that happened. And it doesn't mean that I can't also say that Trump is the worst human being on the planet. Both of those things can be true. And when people draw lines, they have to be on one side or the other. And usually they're not saying anything if they're on the left. And I heard a few people saying, in response to the mayor and it being her fault, how dare you go after a black woman? And I just thought, what the fuck? That has absolutely nothing to do with it. There was an interview with a few celebrities that said, I'm here for my woman. How dare you go after a black, you don't go after a black woman like that. And I just thought, what the fuck? That has nothing to do with it either way. And like I said, not going to be a fire show, but this also leads to other discussions that we can have. And it's just important to know that you can be sensible and you don't have to choose a side, and that somebody fucked up here. And I think we should decide who fucked up and stop the fuck up in the future.
Yeah, 100%. And if you didn't go after her after she didn't do her job because she's a woman and you want to go easy on her, or because she's a black woman, that within itself is discriminatory.
Right.
That
isn't common, but I heard that said, how dare you go after a black woman? And I just went, wow, you've just shown yourself to be a complete idiot.
And something else that's really bad, again, we don't want to make the whole show about the fire, but I think the number is between 1,600 and 2,000 homeowners were actually, their fire policy was dropped by their insurers last year, and it was by State Farm, because of the issues in the area around high risk of fire.
Yeah, that's part of why I want to get out of this state, and I keep talking about it, is because eventually my home is going to get taken, and I don't know if it's going to be floods or earthquakes or fires, but asshole insurance companies love to find a reason not to pay, and guaranteed that's what they're having meetings on right now to screw these people. And that ought to be illegal, and we ought to really watch out for our citizens in that regard, but we don't, because it's all about big money.
Man. Ugh. Every time someone says big pharma in my family, I think about a big man in denim holding a pitchfork.
Now I will. Thank you very much for that.
You're welcome. Riding a horse, taking some hay out.
Yeah. Hindsight is 20/20, and everybody be vigilant. I'm tired of be vigilant. Everybody is vigilant in these cases, except our government that is really not vigilant. And the case may be made. A guitar player acquaintance said that there's nothing they could have done in this case. It was too big. The winds were too big. Okay, but I feel like based on what I know, probably it could have been handled better. I don't know that there wouldn't have been disaster no matter what, but maybe there would have been less disaster. And it's not just the fires, it's Los Angeles overall, the reason I got out of there is because there was so much just bullshit corruption and apathy as I went through my day that I said, this is just ridiculous. And that's the way the state is going to go from what I can tell. It's, I see a guy breaking into apartments in the middle of the night and I immediately jump on the phone to 911 and call the cops because someone, as I call, is breaking into apartments and I can see them and they show up an hour later and like, oh, he's gone. Sorry. I don't know if anybody got robbed or not. It's that my car gets hit and run and I have a video of the car and the plate number and the guy's face leaving the scene and I file a report and LA County never does anything about it. There's just so much of that these are considered little crimes and I don't know, maybe murder's considered a big enough crime that they go after it. It's hard to tell. And I don't know that necessarily is the cops' fault. It probably goes to funding and a lot of that. And then also I want to mention too, the goddamn Mexicans. Oh, these Mexicans in this situation, we better keep the Mexicans out of our country because they came across the borders and helped us fight our fires and helped us save our cities. And maybe the Trump administration could look at the Mexicans in that regard and the fact that they were helping save us when our own country wasn't doing that. Just food for thought.
While I'm hearing you speak, I'm thinking about another shirt for the repertoire, of course, which is inspired by Be Vigilant, but instead it's Be Vigilante.
Ooh.
And instead, I think that is what really needs to happen in LA. I think that if we have 1,000 low rent versions of the Batman who start fucking popping up and pushing cat burglars out windows and smashing up the joint, I think that things will change. It would just be hilarious. And I think that, and what I really insist upon is that the vigilantism should be cruel and unusual.
Oh, you don't even know where I'm going and you're on the right track.
So, for example, if you catch someone breaking into your house, don't shoot them. No. Dress them up and keep them, like as a cat. Or like force feed them only Jell-O. Like you get to keep them as a pet. Or they have to do your laundry. We should start dishing out like really weird fucking punishments. Like going to prison, not good enough. And I mean, let's not hurt people. Let's make them do really weird shit.
Well, see, now your bit is better than my actual thought process here in the notes that I have. But yeah, I have all these notes about I used to not believe in the death penalty, and now I kind of do. And I feel like I was having a discussion with unofficial producer Scott about this. I feel like if you're looting somebody's home in a disaster, if there was a death penalty, I think that would dissuade a lot of people from looting someone's home in a disaster. That's not, oh, my family can't feed itself. That's I'm making a conscious, shitty decision to go steal from someone who's already lost everything. But, oh, I could be killed for that. I think I won't do it. So I was thinking death penalty for looting, death penalty for arson, murder, child molestation, all of those lesser crimes. I was kind of on your same track. I was thinking maybe some light torture and incarceration. I know we can't have cruel and unusual punishment, but I feel like if we brought back some torture, that would stop people from fucking up and hurting other people too. It's just one of those logical things. I'm tired of rehabilitation and hugs for everybody, and I'm left, but I'm tired of being that left.
I am leaning into a little bit of light torture today.
Yeah.
This is my bad conscience. Maybe what we could do is this is low rent light torture. This is cost effective. All we need is a little bit of barbed wire and someone's anus and someone who wants to try and start them like a lawnmower. This is my torture design for the people who want to steal from the victims of these fires. A friend of a friend actually returned from vacation to discover that their entire home was gone. And so they didn't even have an opportunity to take any of their mementos. You know, a lot of people focus on the celebrities. And it might not be their home. It might be a house that they have. But a lot of people have lost their homes, all of their memories and everything. And my friend's friend, luckily they were away, so all of their pets were in boarding and yada, yada, yada. But they didn't even have the opportunity to take any photos or anything. And I just, my heart really goes out to them. So anybody caught stealing from them, they should be started like a lawnmower with a thing full of razor blades or maybe
the
some
looting
barbed
I can't
wire.
decide. I can't decide if I want murder or death penalty or torture on the looting. It's hard to decide. I can't decide which would be more effective because that really just says I'm being a shitty human being and deciding to take that route, you know?
Maybe you could convert all of them into crabs. Again, it's a little bit of light torture. It's a little bit of ruining, and you just cut off all of the fingers in the middle so they're permanently crab hands. Just give them a couple
They
of
do
crab
that in
hands.
other countries, I think.
They do that in other countries. Yeah. Okay, obviously this is a little bit
And
of
there's a lot less stealing in those countries.
Yeah, surprise, surprise. Like, now, if I had to, just to be clear, if I had to be the actual one cutting off the fingers and everything, I would be much less cavalier in the same way that if trees screamed, I wouldn't be able to build a house. Okay?
Right.
Like,
Just
I'd
to be
really
clear,
struggle.
this is not in instances where there is any doubt. I'm talking about we have you on video and we know it's you, and there is without a shadow of a doubt that it is you doing these things: arson, looting, murder, child molestation. If we know it's you, if we had really brutal penalties, there would be so much less of it. And go ahead.
Child molestation all day.
Yeah.
I will happily administer the punishment. As a mother, I would definitely be able to kill somebody with my bare hands. No problems there. I can always find the good in people. I think I could probably even find the good in someone around the looting. I'd have the problem like cutting off someone's hands for looting, but cutting off the hands of somebody who'd molested a child, give me a spoon. I'm at it. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
Not a problem.
Let's cut off other stuff too while we're at it.
Yep.
And I also love the dynamic of this show where you're the prude, you're the innocent one, and then when we dig a little bit deeper, you're the one bringing up barbed wire and anuses and things like that. I really enjoy that part of things.
Yeah, I do have a dark side. It takes a while to get there, but it is reserved for very special things.
Right.
It takes a while to get there, though.
And then the other thing that all of this led me to is I'm watching the apocalypse happen around me, the price gouging in the time of a disaster. I got gouged during COVID, and I was so pissed, and it still sits within me. And what do you think about this? Here is a new law that we enact, kind of on the same school of thought as all these other horrible crimes. If you are caught price gouging in the time of a disaster, you lose your store. You don't have ownership, and anyone that has a receipt since the disaster took place gets to be a group owner in the store, sharing all the profits of the store moving forward. I think that would kind of motivate people to say, hey, you're going to lose everything. Better not fuck other people because you obviously don't have a conscience to just not do it on your own.
Interesting. It could work. What about the people who hoard things?
That's iffy. I'm willing to look at some light penalties on that because they are being selfish, but it's not a direct crime on somebody else. I got to tell you, I go to Costco, and Costco doesn't have eggs anymore. Maybe they get them in the morning and they're all gone by the afternoon. But because of this big egg crisis that I have another whole topic on that we can talk about, all the eggs are gone. They have
There's an egg crisis?
Yeah, there's an egg crisis. We'll get into that probably later in the show, depending on how things go. But I show up in the afternoon, and they usually usually have 3 big pallets stacked 7 feet high of eggs. And if I go in the afternoon, they're completely gone. People are buying them out, and they're obviously hoarding them, maybe because they're restaurants. I know a lot of restaurants shop at Costco, and they're protecting their own investment. But yeah, what do you do about hoarding? How do you handle that?
I mean, I'm not sure. And I know I like that your idea went straight to the restaurants. I went straight to all the gym bros in LA. Just mainlining eggs, just snorting eggs for breakfast, just 12 eggs, like straight down the gullet after going to the gym and pumping iron. Like that's where I thought, that's where all your fucking eggs are going.
And what is the purpose of not cooking them? Is it better for you with protein or something? How does that? I don't get that. They saw Rocky too many times. I don't understand.
I have no idea. I am not a scientist. I don't think it makes a difference. I think it's just cool points. I think it's just cool factor 7 if you're just Terry Tough Nuts who can drink raw eggs. Gross. And by the way, who would want to kiss somebody after they've scarfed raw eggs? Blech.
Yeah.
Blech.
Not me.
Yuck. Not me. That's disgusting.
Yeah.
But there's an egg crisis. Is there a legit egg crisis? Because I want to know whether or not to panic, because I'm a huge fan of eggs, cooked eggs.
Well,
I need eggs.
Yeah, let me get to my notes here. The egg prices are out of this world, and that is because there is another outbreak of the bird flu that went around about 7 months ago. I don't know if you remember that.
I do.
But I kind of feel like it's bullshit. And I have this egg conspiracy theory that I guess we're done with fire talk now. I think there might be a big conspiracy because first thing I think of is this happened, like I said, 7 months ago or whatever it was. All the birds got bird flu and they were dying and it was a whole thing. And egg prices were high then. I think perhaps Big Egg might be in cahoots with Trump. And all this bird flu nonsense is just nonsense. And maybe the behind the scenes agreement is they get to sell their eggs at a massive profit and create a demand for a while. And then when he gets into power, he can come in, being the pig fucker that he is, and go, look, when I came into office, this situation with the eggs, I fixed it. I'm Trump, Lord Emperor Trump. And then he'll blame the egg crisis on Biden and say how great egg prices are now because of what he did. And it's really an easy thing that he can give us because he's already going back on the promises that he's made, and he's not going to be able to do any of those. Well, this he can easily do if there's a behind-the-scenes egg conspiracy, and maybe go with that. I don't know that it's true, but it makes sense in my head.
It's an interesting theory. My favorite part of it is the reference to Big Egg.
Big Egg.
Big Egg. And my brain automatically went to Dr. Robotnik from the new Sonic movie because I think of him as
Because
Big
you have
Egg.
children?
Well, no, because I used to play Sonic when it used to come out.
You did?
Yeah.
I never pictured you as a video game person.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
No, I love a good video game. My dexterity is not great, but I do the puzzles and somebody else pushes the buttons. But I do like to play Sonic.
Like the in-game puzzles, kind of, you solve that, hey, if you put this there, you need that to do this. I like both. I like to be able to, okay, I figured that out, and now I can move over here and jump up there. And
Yeah, so what's that game, Drake's whatever? It's like the Indiana Jones type games, when you're going through the jungle and you've got to go, well...
Oh, yeah, it's on
a-
PlayStation.
Yes, exactly.
Uncharted.
Yeah, that. So that game, I do the puzzles. And
I
my
thought you were going to
family.
tell me there was a game about the rapper Drake, and I was going to say I don't know anything about that.
You don't? It's just all like roofies and surprise butt sex. It's sponsored by Bill Cosby and P. Diddy. Smells like baby lotion and regret.
Oh my God, you go wonderful places sometimes.
Do you know what lives rent free in my head? And I know that you probably don't like that phrase, but
I
it
was
is
just
really
about to
apt.
say.
It is really apt because the number of times that it flashes in my mind and I go, ooh, it's that massive watermelon container full of dildos that they found at Diddy's joint. Have you seen the... It is... For the life of me, I have so many questions. Like, was he storing them in that? I have so many unanswered questions. It has become... I go to sleep at night thinking about that sort of thing. One, I've never gone into a sex shop, so I've never actually seen like a dildo up close. And so for me, this is like a real fascination, okay? So I see the photos of these things, and it's almost like that carnival sideshow, the bearded woman, the world's shortest man. Like, these things are magical to me.
Well, interesting. I don't know if you know this, but a lot of carnivals, you go and if you get your weight guessed and they can't do it, you win a dildo. So there's that. And it's on the special shelf. Yeah, there's a shelf way up top that if on that shelf, if you want to choose that way up top out of you can get the dildo. So interesting that you went with that. Weird correlation you came up with there.
That's amazing. Do you then get to beat a hooker to death with it, like in GTA? Or
if you're playing Grand Theft Auto, yes, you do.
Okay. Fuck yeah. Let's go.
I don't know that my egg-spiracy theory, she's making dildo motions now. I don't know if my egg-spiracy theory is true, but I am very suspicious of Big Egg in this because, like I said, all of a sudden there's a big demand and huge prices. Dozen eggs is like $12 now in a lot of places. And yeah, there's something to that. Don't know if it's Trump, but it seems like there's something to that. And I will find evidence one day. So that is the way things have been in this state with the apocalypse and all of that. And I'm just wondering, I haven't checked in with you. How's your life this week? Anything going on?
It's actually awesome because, as I mentioned, hell did freeze over. So there was no school. There was no work. I took the opportunity to just have the day off because we lost power. We got about 3 inches of snow before.
Is that because of the California fires you lost power? Or the way this country works, that could be.
I mean, that could be it. No, but because of the snow, and we were able to go sledding, and I got to spend the whole day with my kids. My mother-in-law was visiting from Australia, and she hasn't seen snow, especially snow falling, for a very long time. She's 80 years old. So it was a really magical time, and I will treasure those memories forever. It was a really great week.
Very cool. Those happen from time to time, and we like it when they do. I'm looking for more of those. I'd like to get more of those in, if possible.
Did I tell you that I started my new hobby about a year ago when I took up my new hobby?
Some new workout thing?
Yeah, kind of. It involves a bat.
How did I know?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So, I don't know. There's something about
it's
me.
Always a new workout thing.
Okay, so I took up tennis, remember? I decided to learn how to play tennis. Did I tell you about this?
The only thing that I would like to see for you, because it is the thing now, maybe you should consider pickleball. Everybody loves the pickleball now, and I'm a little bit bothered by how much everybody is into the pickleball, and plus it splatters all over when you hit the pickle. So
yeah, exactly, when you hit the cucumber sphere. Yeah. Exactly. I'm not into pickleball. I am a traditionalist, and I don't know if I have any right to be a traditionalist because I quite literally had never touched a tennis racket until 12 months ago. But now I play tennis, which for anyone who knows me is fucking hilarious, but I like it. It's fun. And I convinced Robert, my drug dealing husband, drug running husband, to join me. So now he and I play on a mixed doubles team together, and we played our first tennis match on the weekend. We lost, but we had a lot of fun because he hasn't hit a tennis ball for, no joke, 30 years. So we had a great time together.
Do you ever play tennis with the other drug lords? Do they ever come over? And
they're more golf people.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and so we have to... If we can drag them off the course, then yeah. But as you say, they're also more into pickleball because they're aging And for me, for pickleball, I haven't gotten into it. I've heard people talk about it. There are a lot of rules. It's very different. And I'm still only learning tennis. I don't feel like I'm ready to multi-racket.
I feel like pickleball is just big ping pong. That's how I understand it.
100%. That is what I think of when I think of it. It is just novelty-sized ping pong.
And I think it's kind of annoying. I hear it's very noisy, like the rackets themselves are noisy, make a big cracking sound because there's people all over the country where they're putting in pickleball courts that are pissed because they have to live next door to it. And that would be my Dante's Inferno.
I haven't ever witnessed pickleball. In my neighborhood, we are anti-pickleball. We do not pickleball. The biggest, funniest, most controversial thing that has happened in recent history is we hosted the matches at our tennis courts in our neighborhood last weekend, and we had a couple of grunters on the opposite
that's
team.
the other part. Yeah.
Give me strength. Honestly, this is super craptastic, poverty grade, old person, social fucking tennis. This is the beer league. Half of us are drinking beer beforehand, and at one point, somebody offered me a brisket sandwich, and I said, no thanks, just the meat up my left nostril. Like, this is not fucking serious. And here we have geriatric fucking Serena Williams over here. He's actually some middle-aged white guy grunting like a pig on every serve and every hit. And it's so distracting playing against a grunter. And I can't stop giggling. I can't stop giggling at the grunter. It really puts me off my game.
And also, it's such a low-grade game that you would think that if you're doing that, you have to intentionally be doing that, right? It's not like it's a need. It's not like, and even this is an argument, it's not like lifting weights where you're really, and you get it up there. Like, come on.
Right.
You're having to do that, right?
Yeah, no one is serving at 200 kilometers an hour that necessitates that sort of level of exertion to serve nor return. So it's surprising, to say the least. I'm like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, like,
It's
are you
really
taking
weird.
a dump? Are
It's
you
really
having
weird.
some sex? What's going on there? I don't know what your deal is. Oh, you're just playing pickleball. Okay.
Yeah, do you have an atomic wedgie? Do you have a rock in your shoe?
Yeah.
Do you have a splinter? What's wrong with you?
So there's that with you. And then the other thing that I seriously have been pondering for an entire week now, and I'm wondering if there's any update. There were half deers appearing everywhere around your neighborhood. Deer carcasses, the front half or the back half, were just being thrown on people's lawns. Is there any update on that? Anything new on that?
I got excited. I thought you were going to ask me, do I prefer the back half or the front
Well,
half?
okay, let's go with that. Which is
Okay.
your favorite?
I prefer the face end
Okay.
of the deer. I find that to be the cutest.
You can look in their eyes and it feels very connected.
Yeah, exactly. Generally, I prefer my deer to be alive, though, unless I'm eating it. And now I know that you don't participate in the meat eating. However,
Venison's
I do
very
eat.
gamey.
It is very gamey. I do eat venison, if it's going.
Right.
I don't seek it out. I'm not
Do you
going to
eat
go and
half
eat the
venison?
Well, yeah. The other thing too is, though, I know it's a very American thing, but say, for example, I'm driving down the road. I'm not just gonna, if I saw somebody hit a deer, I'm not gonna be like, oh, goody, and throw it in the back of my car, take it home, butcher it, and eat it.
Lost opportunity on your part.
Right.
Yeah.
No, thank you. But there are people, my neighbors, my friends, who 100% would do that, but I'm not about it. Are they still appearing? Yes. And check this out. I've got a theory, but it's actually horrific. Yesterday, my friend, I saw her in the afternoon and she went home to walk her dog, and I got a text from her and she said, I just took my dog out for a walk and a coyote ran up on us. That is so unusual. There are coyotes out here. They are big, they are grim, and in broad daylight, they are running up on people. I don't know what is happening here. Maybe they're hungry, maybe they have rabies, but the wild dogs are running up on people in suburbia.
Would
So
a
maybe it's them.
coyote split a deer in half, though? Wouldn't it just kill it and down it and eat from there? Would they cut it in half? That's my only concern. And the way you described it, it almost made it seem like surgical. And that's why I was pretty committed to space aliens.
It's not surgical. It looks like... Have you ever seen an animal that has been hit by a truck at a really fast speed and it's sort of been smashed in half? It more looks like that. I know that that's a bit grim, but it more looks to be the result of a high-paced traffic incident, which doesn't make sense on some of the streets. Although, at the pace that some of these fucking Uber Eats drivers drive around, I wouldn't be surprised. Do you have Uber lunatics in your neighborhood?
We have Uber, but I haven't seen anybody driving like an asshole.
One of my neighbors gets so angry that he throws things at them because they cut through our neighborhood and they're going absolutely bonkers fast. And he throws rocks and sticks and things at them. I'm sure one day I'm going to find him dead because he's been shot. But until then, I'm encouraging him wildly.
Yeah, that's the way it is with me, basically. That's the way you think of me, I'm sure. One day, his mouth is going to get him in trouble and somebody will just kill him. And I accept that fact, too. I see it. Oh, I know. But
I'm going to get you a shirt that says Bichilante.
I would love that.
Bichilante. I need it. Okay, Bichilante. We need this shirt, Bichilante.
Going back to what you said, and you say the deer carcasses, the fronts or the backs, kind of look like they've been hit by a high-speed vehicle. Do you then think the coyotes are driving high-speed vehicles?
I hope they're driving low-speed vehicles. I prefer my coyotes in other forms of heavy machinery like forklifts. I feel like cars is too much. A car too much. I don't know why I feel more comfortable with a forklift.
Well, forklift, you can get away. They're so slow. You can, dodge and weave and zig and zag, and you're out of the way. And then
Yeah. I know, but they could pick up a car with a forklift, or they could, put the forks through the windows. I don't know. Some forklifts go pretty quick. I mean, what kind of forklift? Is it just like your regular forklift? Or is it those forklifts that pick up shipping containers? Those ones are scary.
Yeah, those are big and massive. And a lot of times they even use cranes for that. And this is kind of becoming a Warner Brothers cartoon with Wile E. Coyote.
That is exactly who I was imagining. Okay, so I was exactly imagining Wile E. Coyote. But to be honest, this week I have not personally seen any more carcasses, although I have seen a lot of actual deer.
So carcasses is kind of a weekend event.
Yeah, I feel like maybe people party on the weekend and then the carcasses happen.
Come on over. We're going to have some beer and eat half a deer. It's going to be good. Oh, we're done with that. Oh, don't worry about it. Just throw it out on the lawn.
Just throw it out on the lawn. I mean, that would make sense why the arse ends of the deer are appearing. Because to be perfectly honest, I think that people are hunting the deer. They're only taking the front half because they want to stuff and mount the front half, and they're discarding the back half like some sort of weird psycho. They're driving down the street and they're just throwing the back half of a deer in. Like, it's kids. It's kids in the South who've gone hunting, and then they're just throwing the arse end of a deer into somebody's front yard. That is my actual theory, crane driving coyotes aside.
And also, don't animals instinctively eat from the asshole?
Yes, they do. I was telling my kids about that the other day over breakfast.
It's how you get into the meat when you're an animal. You eat from the asshole because that's a way to tear it apart and get in there. So probably it's not coyotes in trucks.
Exactly. My mother-in-law said something along the lines of that some sort of animal, I think it was that she said that cats or dogs don't like offal, which is the organs of animals. And I said, that's so interesting because I thought that they like to eat animals through the asshole.
I'm enjoying this, and it's funny, and I see your smirk, but you call bad insides of animals awful in your country?
Oh, offal, not awful. It's offal. So offal is organs. It's the meat that is organs.
Is that
and
an Australian
offshoots.
thing, or is that just a thing I don't know about that I've never heard of?
Butchery term,
Oh,
I thought.
see, well, there you go. I'm not big on my butchery. I bet that's what
It's
it is.
It's internal organs and entrails. It's spelt OFFAL, and it can be skeletal muscle as well. But it's a butchery term.
Okay, well, that's just awful.
Mm.
There we go. So last week was the first show of 2025, and I have this list that we were going to go over, but we always talk, and I'd like to get this done before we're like into June or something. But it's very timely. This is 58 pop culture moments and things that are officially turning 10 years old this year in 2025. This is from Buzzfeed. So all of these things happened in 2015, and I highlighted some of the more interesting ones, and you can see how it feels to you, and we can talk about that. Star Wars returned in a huge, huge way. The Force Awakens was released and would go on to be one of the biggest movies. It was the newest of the prequels, a full 10 years ago. Does it seem like that long to you?
It doesn't seem like that long ago, but it kind of does because we have a whole part of Disney dedicated to it.
And
so
all of the new
checks out.
Disney, Marvel, and Star Wars, not all, 90% of it is crap. 90% of it is not well done and just recycled bullshit that nobody cares about. But that just seemed so far away to me, and none of those new Star Wars movies are good, with the exception of the one that was supposed to be right before Episode 4 with that girl, whatever it was. It's the one
Natalie
that leads
Portman.
into... No, it
The
was...
girl he stars as Rey.
No, not Force Awakens. It was the good one.
Okay. As you can tell, I haven't watched a single
All right.
fucking one of these movies because I'm so into it.
You know
okay,
the
what's
original
next?
Star Wars, though, right?
Oh, yes, the
Okay.
original and the best.
Just stick with that. That's fine.
Yeah.
10 years ago in 2015, Snapchat first introduced filters. It was that dog one where all you girls had your dog ears going and the tongue and the whole thing. And does that feel like a decade ago? And how do you feel about that? To me, it's an embarrassing moment in our society. But
Yeah, it's gross. I've never used nor had Snapchat. Gross.
thank you. Because it just became such a thing. And it's, oh, look at me. And they had to have that voice. Even if they didn't have that voice, when they put that dumb filter on, I think they immediately had that tick-tocky, emotionally distant voice. And yes, no more of that, please. I think that's kind of out of style, right?
Well, I mean, you say look at me, and I say I would, but I can't tell what you fucking look like on any of these apps anymore. So I could meet people in the street who I follow on social media, and I wouldn't recognize them because the person online, they're so filtered up, they look nothing like the human. It's a travesty. Anyway, end rant.
And I'm still amazed that I make a living by showing my tits and ass is such a thing in our society. And I hope it's not just a new permanent. I hope that it's something we're going to get past. And it doesn't offend me. I just feel like we should be better than that.
Ugh. We live in hope.
I
We
enjoy
live
the
in hope.
TNA. I just don't want people making it their whole career, and they ought to be smarter than that. Is that too judgy?
No.
Okay. 10 years ago in 2015, selfie sticks became the biggest thing, and people were walking around with selfie sticks and literally walking off cliffs because of them. They weren't paying attention. Did you ever selfie stick?
I've never selfie sticked, and selfie stick deaths firmly belong in the Darwin Awards.
Yep.
Thank you for your service. Thank you for removing yourself from the gene pool and just exiting out the shallow end, you numpty.
It is every show I like you more and more because I bring things up and I say, I hope she hasn't done these things. And then it turns out you haven't. And my heart has warmed a little bit more because of that.
Hey, we're only up to 3 things. There's 58 things on this list. I can't wait to find one that I've gone in hook, line, and sinker for. I can't wait to find the one that I've got the facial tattoo for. Let's keep going. I'm pumped.
And they're not
What do
all
we got?
bad. These are just, 10 years ago. As an example, almost a year after they were first announced, Apple Watches were finally released and were an immediate hit. How do you feel about the Apple Watch?
Big fan of the Apple Watch. In fact, got the mother-in-law one for Christmas because she's getting old. She lives alone. And it has the alert that if you fall over and all of that kind of stuff. And so we made the investment. They're more cost effective in this country so that she could be safe. And so a big fan of the Apple Watch. I've had every single one that's been released.
I, for so long, was like, oh, these Apple Watches, so unnecessary, so not needed. And then I got one and tried it out, and it is such a convenient for my day job. I have to get a code to sign into every single system. There's like 8 of them. And rather than go and pull out my phone, I get a ding, and I just look at my wrist, and I can type it in that way. That in itself is worth the watch. And then when I go to the store and go to buy eggs from Big Egg and I forget where my car is, I just look at my watch and my watch will lead me right back to my car. That is worth the $300 I spent on it or whatever it was.
That's
good.
amazing. You can even buy, and you might have just said this and I missed it because I was so delighted by you saying Big Egg again. You can even transact using your Apple Watch. So I often just wear my watch. I store all of my payment data on it. I feel like a little robot. I run around, I make calls, I listen to music, I transact all just on my Apple Watch.
Apple Wallet, they call that. You know what I did the other day?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Apple Wallet.
It was at Costco. I might have been looking at Big Egg, and I left my phone in my car. My watch is anchored to my phone electronically, and I thought, oh no, how am I going to pay? My phone is in my car. It's not going to work. I did the double tap on my watch, and it worked anyway. It just knows that my phone is not that far off, and I think it uses Wi-Fi or something, but I don't know how, but it worked anyway. And it was like, this is the greatest thing. I never need a credit card. Double tap the watch, ding, and it's good. And also, if somebody doesn't accept the Apple Watch, I feel they're kind of a low-grade business, and oftentimes I don't want to shop there. That is my judgment.
Don't want to shop there. Just go saddle up next to Walmart, you pack of cunts. Like, the more that you say Big Egg, it makes me think, you know who we're really against here? Big Pharma.
Because they're involved indirectly in Big Egg with their hormones and that sort of thing?
No, as in the big guy in the dungarees. Because Big Egg
Big Farmer.
Yeah.
This is where the accent effed up because you said Big Pharma, and I immediately thought Big Pharmaceutical, and I was like,
that's the joke.
I do.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
all right.
the joke.
Well,
That's the bit.
I'll slip an extra shoes on the Bobby for you.
Big Pharma, Big Farmer. That is the difference right there.
It's Big Farmer.
Oh
Big
my
Farmer.
God. It was the biggest thing ever, and then it just completely went away like many of these will. 10 years ago, Periscope was huge, and all these people were recording 10-second clips on their app, and it was like the Snapchat of then, and it's completely gone away. And I think they've even gone out of business. You know anything about Periscope? She's looking around like, no.
I need to up Periscope on that one because I've got no idea what it is. I've never heard of it before.
This is an important history lesson for you. You can go back and study your Periscope.
Oh, yeah, while I'm there, I'll rustle up a Microsoft Zune. Like,
Hey, it's Zoom with an M. I remember Zoom at the time because it had better audio quality, and I was like, hey, audio's better, and then that just completely failed too. Or you know what? You're right. It wasn't Zoom. It was Zune. You're right. Mm-hmm. You're absolutely right. I screwed that up because Zoom is in my head because that was the big COVID thing.
Oh, good.
These are 58 pop culture moments and things that are officially turning 10 years old in 2025. Everybody in 2015 started using the peach and eggplant emoji for sexting. No, how just dumb is that? People debated whether the peach was supposed to mean butt or vagina, and everybody thought they were so clever and funny by they put a peach or an eggplant in, and I had some weird conversations over it because I just always put a peach, and a girl would go, "Oh yeah, you like that?" And I said, "Yeah, I enjoy fruit," and then I just left it there.
Yeah, for the record, peach, I'm going with butt on this
It
one.
looks more like butt.
Yeah, I'm going with butt. And 2, if anybody ever points a dick the same size shape as a fucking eggplant at anybody, that is an act of aggression.
Yeah.
And should be interpreted as such. Not okay.
And it's really not even close to anatomically accurate. The eggplant kind of looks like something you'd find on an animal. I don't know. I haven't studied a lot of animal penises, but you would think it looks like an eggplant. I think maybe an elephant is a little bit like that. There's some that it's like, but not a human. That's not even slightly human.
That's, man, just the overall obsession with communicating with emojis overall is just peculiar, as is not spelling things correctly and using punctuation.
It's amazing that we can't communicate in our society.
Bonkers.
Yeah, because people don't. It's all pictures and no punctuation. And
yeah, what are we, fucking cavemen?
I think we're getting there. We are regressing as a society. Fire, make wheel.
This is what's happening. Wow. Yeah.
10 years ago, Mark Ronson's Uptown Funk featuring Bruno Mars was the biggest song of the year, and you couldn't get away from it. I have thoughts. I have opinions. Go ahead.
I remember it,
Mm-hmm.
not because it was... I remember it actually because the year before was when Mark Ronson became a breakout because of the work that he did with Amy Winehouse.
Mm-hmm.
And Amy Winehouse, in my opinion, was a fantastic vocalist. So no matter how I felt about that, he had entered the collective. And I have such fond memories of that song because it was big the summer before I got married. It was like the summer that I got engaged. So regardless of how I feel about that song, it reminds me of that time in my life. So it makes me feel good.
I would say Mark Ronson, pop producer, kind of trashy pop music, but a good producer, a legitimate hit maker. I've seen the stuff that he's done. He is talented at that. Uptown Funk is one of those songs that I heard and went, yeah. And then I heard more of it and I went, ugh. Because Bruno Mars, overall, I have never heard a song from Bruno Mars that sounds like Bruno Mars. I have never heard a song from Bruno Mars that isn't completely derivative and stolen from somebody else. My favorite phrase is, hey, did you hear that new song by The Time? Yeah, it's by Bruno Mars. Because every single thing he does is, oh, it's absolutely this song. And it's not even like he's stealing the melody. He's just stealing the overall experience. And that bothers me about him. It's not that he is without musical talent, I don't think. It's just that nothing is even leaning towards original. It's all derivative bullshit, in my opinion. And women love that guy because he's cute. It's Bon Jovi syndrome. And even if you had to agree with his music being completely derivative, a lot of women would say, oh, he's cute, so I like his music, and ugh. Cute people don't make good music. Well, okay, sometimes they do, but...
Well, I mean, I saw something the other day and I was going to send it to you and I saved it on my phone, but then I forgot to actually send it, and it was a meme that my cousin sent me that said, before there was AI, there was real talent, and it was a picture of Milli Vanilli. Maybe I did send it to you, but I was like, you're probably going around.
It was 10 years ago that Pizza Rat became a viral thing in New York. Do you remember seeing that? Those videos of Pizza Rat? Pizza Rat was this thing that made everybody go, oh my God, New York. It was this massive slice of New York pizza, but even more massive was this rat that had picked it up and was dragging it through the streets, apparently taking it home for the family. And it just went everywhere. And people said, yeah, there you go. That's New York, pizza rat. It was a big sensation.
Cool.
All right, so let's study. You need to learn pizza rat and you need to learn periscope.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps there are periscopes of pizza rat somewhere. This is something we could work towards.
This is good. 2 birds, 1 stone. Not to be confused with 2 girls, 1 cup.
Oh, yeah. I got baited into that one time and let down. A friend told me I had to see, oh, have you seen this? And I got fished. Jesus Christ.
Asshole.
Even though it's fake, they were preloaded, obviously, but still gross. The ice cream was preloaded. You're not reacting? Are you pondering if the ice cream was preloaded?
I'm trying not to vomit.
Okay. It's a big plus during the show. Try not to vomit. Here, I'll bring you back. 10 years ago, something that became very popular, avocado toast.
Oh, come on. Maybe in this country, but avocado toast is the food of my people.
Okay. Well, I just know that I never really thought of it. I've been a big lover of avocados my entire life. And then all of a sudden there was this thing and it's like, oh, you do that and a little bit of tomato. And oh my God, it's the best thing ever. I lived without avocado toast for a long time. And now I wish I had an avocado tree.
Yeah, man. Avocado toast. Amazing.
Could you just live only off of avocados for the rest of your life? I bet you could. You might be a little bit deficient, but you could probably get by on that, right?
Maybe not solely. I think you'd have to have other things. Maybe if you had to have avocado in everything that you ate, I could definitely do it. If that was the rule, so for example, every single meal, if you had a salad, had to have avocado. If you made a sandwich, had to have avocado. If you made a cake, had to have avocado in it. That I could get behind.
I don't mean would you like it. I mean you're on a desert island and the only thing there to eat is avocados. Could you live for the rest of your life?
Oh, I
think
sure
you probably
could.
could. There's enough nutrition there, right? You're not going to eat sand.
Well, no.
Yeah.
Not intentionally. I'm sure you accidentally will, in fact, eat some sand.
Yeah.
But not intentionally.
10 years ago, in our lexicon, Netflix and chill entered the lexicon. Netflix and chill became a thing. I hate that phrase. It's one of those slangy things.
Have you ever Netflixed and chilled, Stu?
I
have you ever Netflixed and chilled?
But I've never called it that, and I feel like a better person for that.
Yeah, I've never and never.
All right. Lastly, the dress swept the internet. Remember the dress? It was
yeah,
either
dude.
blue
And I tell you what, it's black and blue, you fucking idiots.
That's what I think. But then I saw a new picture, and for whatever reason in the new picture, it was white. I've always thought it was blue in those pictures. Did that picture change, or did something change in me where I'm seeing it differently now? I don't know.
I think you might be seeing it differently. The owner of the dress has even come out and said that it's blue and black. So,
but some people saw it differently. How can that be?
There's people have written stories about it.
Right. And guaranteed, if I go to the internet and Google it right now, it's going to show blue to me because it always has. But I think I don't have this article up in front of me. When I see this other picture, it was the same dress but white, and maybe somebody processed it that. Maybe somebody is trying to screw with us in a big way, and they did that just to get discussion going about it again. That could be.
Yeah, without a doubt.
All right. Well, we've explored a decade ago and talked about fires and deer carcasses, and it's been a wonderful time.
It is. It's always an absolute pleasure. I never know where we're going to go.
No.
But we always have a good time getting there. So thank you. Happy New Year. It's always fun.
Bad news is I don't know where we're going. The good news is I'm enjoying the ride. That's a song somewhere.
Rock on.
Did my devil horns there. Everybody have a good week.
Happy New Year.
Okay, you know how this goes. Like us, subscribe, tell your friends, write a nice review, engage with us.
We're Total Babble on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok, on Threads, and on Blue Sky. Email is show@totalbabble.com.
The Total Babble Podcast.
All we need is a little bit of barbed wire and someone's anus and someone who wants to try and start them like a lawnmower.